Just come in and we can go into this show, part 4, which should be the conclusion. Don't have to close it all the way, just get it. Do I need this a little higher? Do that move from studio. Boom. Anybody, good morning. This is Johnny Bunter Jr. live at WVOX. Uh-oh. Live at WVOX, yes, where we give you the greatest, the latest, the greatest. Just for the haters. The latest and greatest, just for the haters. The latest and greatest for all you haters. I don't want to really state it, but it's time to get ready for the greatest. Turn this WVOX 1460 AM on your AM dial. We're gonna turn this into, good morning.
Good morning.
I'm doing my prep.
Okay.
All right, get my radio voice ready. Listen, this is WVOX 1460 on the AM dial, where you get the voice of the people. And here is my voice of the people's voice. So, getting myself ready for the things I want to say. All right. So, I done wasted some valuable minutes, content-wise, but I want people to, so back to me. I was just looking at a little bit of the privacy rules and stuff. YouTube has upped their game since I've been on it a lot regularly. No, since I had a hiatus where I wasn't on it. I got back on it a few weeks ago. I seen that there's certain changes to it that would make it actually a little bit better and easier for me to be on it on a more regular basis. So I am looking, peace strobe light. Hey, Momo B112. Make it easier for me to participate in this YouTube thing because I want to be able to provide content. And let me make this straight. You have people on YouTube making money. How much? It depends on how many people view it. I'm all for making money. I am. But I do not see YouTube as being my primary source of income or even secondary source of income. Me providing content for YouTube is a way for me to fulfill a void that I have. I like to be able to teach people. And sometimes you can't just teach a person by giving them instructions, like go to the blackboard and write this, or 2 + 2 is this. Some people don't want to learn like that. Some people would rather learn by example. I can show you what I've done, and you can look at it and say, I see he did this. I don't like that. I see he did this. I like that. So you can pick and choose what you want to emulate. And I can actually tell you some of the things that I've done that I don't want you to emulate. So that's learning in that of itself, because I can teach you what not to do. You know, I can teach you, okay, listen, I sold drugs, I did this, I did that. Should you sell drugs? No, I don't think so. That would not be a wise choice. Unless you're a pharmacist, you shouldn't be selling drugs. Now, start your own business? That still isn't for everyone. Some people have the wherewithal, they have the patience. Some people have the money. It don't always take money, but sometimes that's a factor. So this is what I want people to know when it comes down to it. And I also want to go back to interviewing people. I did it a couple of times, but I didn't know what I was doing. So by YouTube making it easier for me to utilize, it'll make it easier for me to interview people, because I have a lyric from a song that I wrote that I put online, and it says, I got 25 ways to make 25K. And somebody put in a comment that I should provide 25 ways to make 25K, something to that effect. But they gave me the idea to use that as a segment. So I do want to do that. I want to be able to interview people, regular Joes and Janes. You don't have to be a celebrity. I won't tell a celebrity no if a celebrity comes to me and says they want to be interviewed. I won't do that. But I do want to talk to people who are on the grind, making some moves. We do an interview. Talk about how you make money. Because there's a whole bunch of ways to make money. All of it is legitimately. I'm not talking about somebody come on and say, yo, listen, this is what I want you to do. I want you to set a bank account up in a Cayman. And no, none of that. Just give me some information dealing with how you make money legitimately. We can have a conversation on YouTube. We can build on it. I can ask you questions. You can provide your information on how you started, your views, because sometimes it just starts with a vision, and then you go from there. And if you have an idea and you haven't even started it yet, and you feel that you'd like to build upon it, as long as it's not a proprietary idea where someone can steal it, then you can discuss it. If it's something that you need to put a trademark on, or a patent, or some type of intellectual property that you haven't registered yet, then that is not a topic for discussion in a public forum. But other than that, if you have something that you don't need to be kept secret and you want to build on an idea, hit me up. If you're on my channel and you subscribe to my channel, cool. Even if you're not subscribed to my channel, when you get to the channel, there's a way for you to send me a message. Send me the message saying that you would like to be interviewed and talk about this. Cool. Okay. Credit and home ownership for our people. I'm with all that. Those are discussions that I'd love to have, because I've been through more than once the credit up and down. Had my credit at 7 and some change. Went down to 5 and some change.
Okay.
Rebound. Oh, hey, what's up?
All right, how you
The
doing?
host with the most.
Jump in that chair, you're almost done.
Huh?
Jump in the chair, you're almost done.
We're about to be
Rich,
on.
go on, you're on.
Okay.
I had to list all the things I did so I could be able to get it in. I haven't been standing still, man. I've been I've been grinding.
Is this your business? What's this?
No, that's like jobs that I was doing on my way to creating businesses.
Oh,
I wasn't just standing still waiting for a business.
Oh, okay.
Everybody can't just jump from prison to business owner. All right. 914-636-0110 is the number to call in for the show. WVOX.com. You could go live and hear it or get the app. What's up, brother? How you doing today?
My man, my voice is a little. I did a performance Saturday in Larchmont, and we blew the place out, and I also blew my throat out.
Good morning, good morning. It is a great morning, and we're gonna have another great show, I think. Johnny has been with us, and we're doing this in chapters, you know. And they got Jersey Drew here. He just had a gig last night in Larchmont.
No, Saturday night.
Huh?
It was Saturday night.
Oh, Saturday night. Okay, I got my nights mixed up.
That's right.
And so we got a lot of talent around. Johnny, are you a musician?
I don't play any instruments, if that's what you're asking.
That is what I'm asking.
No.
No. Where did you think I was asking?
Because like I made a record, like I have a video, like I got some lyrics, but I am not a musician where I don't play guitar, piano, drums, cymbals. I don't even play the triangle.
That's good. When you did all that time, you had time to do a lot of stuff. Is it possible that you could have taken music lessons?
Oh, it's highly possible because I actually have participated in a call out where people come together and they do keyboards and drums and stuff like that, and that was a hangout spot as well. And we played chess and stuff. I played chess and things like that, but I didn't try to
You weren't
learn
a
the
technician.
keyboard. Yeah, that was not me.
You know, my mother, well, they say youth is wasted on the young. And my mother wanted me to play piano. And I wanted to play basketball. So the basketball wore out. And I didn't get tall enough to play, or did I have the skills to play basketball. But I played all the sports, but you always have a regret. You know, my mother, I tell young folks, you know, I gotta know more than you. I've been around, made mistakes and all that, and it might be smart for you to listen to people who have gone on before you. Because what are you, 15, 16? What the hell could you know?
Right.
You know? Getting about what people know. We have a lot of shootings, and most of it, with the exception, people kill people in different ways. Black people kill people one at a time. You ever notice that? And white people killed in mass.
I guess they want to get more for their effort.
So, how do you explain or have some insight as to all the shootings? And do you think that gun control, well, I know it's not working, but how do you think that we could curtail some of the shootings that we hear about just too regularly?
One word, communication. It boils down to that. What boils down to it is communication in the form of education, where you're teaching people about some of the stresses and how to deal with it. When you have a bunch of people that are stressed out and they have nowhere to express it, no way to release it and no one's listening to them, or there's nothing that they can do to get it out of their system, it, it's pent up, and it gets to a point where the top blows, the stink blows the top. And depending on that person's mindset, that's the steps that they take. So for instance, you may have the, how you said, the blacks one at a time. In their head, it's like the first person I see, cause that's the way they're thinking. Or I have an issue with Joe. Soon as I see Joe, I'm gonna do this. Now, on a flip side, it's like, okay, I have an issue with the government or society as a norm. I'm gonna hurt society, and I'm gonna do something where a bunch of people get hurt. I'm not saying I'm just using that terminology. And we need people to be able to reach out or be reached to, because sometimes a person is not going to seek help. Sometimes you need to find the wounded. You know what I'm saying? Find the sick and help them. That's why I like to speak to students that are in the age range that I was when I went astray, because those are some of the times when people have those decisions to make. They have those choices to make to take them down this path or this path, but they have to know where the paths lead.
Well, let's back up a little bit here. I'm a student.
Yes, that's me.
Yeah. I'm a student. I'm sure grown folks told you, boy, you better change your way or you're gonna get in some problems. I'm sure.
Yeah.
Even then. You didn't listen.
Nope.
Because there is another force out there that seems more glamorous, and you're immature. You might be smart, but you're immature. You can't make decisions. You haven't examined the consequences of your behavior. And now it's and you're still a young man, and it's getting worse. So I look at it this way: everything there's a cause and effect. Single parent homes, teachers who are not really all that concerned because they have determined that you ain't gonna be nothing nowhere. And so you have all these forces lined up. And because I found that when I used to go to, lecture in schools, the first thing I would say is I'd give a brief background on myself, and then I said, but I'm here to listen to you. And I asked them what they wanted to be, and they always want to be. Some boys want to be a football player, and I said, I guess you're gonna get bigger.
Right.
And I said, and I ended up. I said, how many people want to be a drug dealer? Oh no. I said, you say no, but if you have the forces around you always presenting that to you. I said, I had the same thing, not as intense, but I could have gotten killed at 14 unless I decided that I'm not gonna do this. And they said, well, you faggot. And I said, well, I might be, but I won't be a dead one. And so you have to develop an independent stance, whatever that is. And then you have the police, for instance. Oh, on the police, we're gonna stop, and then we'll be right back after the break. You see, if you got all these factors And then you have people who really can't fight. And they don't, like when I came out, we were duking it out.
Right.
And it's over. Now, it ain't over. If I beat you today, I go and get my gun. And so there's a lot of technical applications that, together with the mentality, that causes a lot of problems.
Well,
I was talking to my grandson. I said, "You think you're bad, huh?" I said, "Sonny Liston got his butt beat. You ain't bad." And these kids out here, if you look at the profile of them, ain't none of them big and stuff, but they big if they got this.
Right.
And so, if you add all this together, it just continue. And I don't know. It's, but I think they will listen if enough people, say for instance, if you come around, I think, first of all, they're gonna admire you because you're in jail. It's almost like a gladiator.
It's my street resume.
right.
Huh?
It's my street resume. Basically, like when you come into a corporate, you got your resume. These are the things I did. Street-wise, this is my resume.
Right.
And it's like, okay, well, you got my attention.
Uh-huh.
It's a respect thing. You have the youth respect the things that I've done. I've sold the drugs. I made a lot of money. I was violent. They respect those things. Now, what happens is, I want to say this on air because I don't, but a lot of stuff that they hear is contradictions from their parents to their mentors to.
Now let's look at the parent. Let's start right there at the parent. Look at the profile of the parent. Okay. Okay, we were caught up in offline about cause and effect. And I don't think, and politicians, of course, not all of them, but it's almost like a waste of time, you know, because you don't vote, so they'll figure that why waste a whole lot of time with you. But cause and effect, if you sit down and say, why is this happening? And you can't just talk to people who are not doing it, and they don't need to talk to me about shooting somebody, because so far I haven't done it. But I do talk to people, and people in the streets, I make sure I talk to them. And that's what it's gonna take. Each one teach one. And but it's every time I think maybe we turn the corner, no, we haven't turned any corner.
Well, look at it like this. As I was saying before, if I step into a classroom of kids and I tell them, okay, my name is Johnny Bunting Jr. I did 25 years, 7 months, 5 days for a murder. I got their attention.
Mm-hmm.
I got their attention right there. Now,
Yeah,
what I
that's why I got you on the show.
what I say
I mean,
after
you look
that.
like a nice guy, you know. I didn't know you obviously when you were 17. You were doing all that. But every time I see a kid defy the traffic and just go across the street and dare, you know, that's a dare. That's an attitude.
Right.
And so I'm saying, what else is he daring?
Right.
And so I know I used to go down to one of the schools, kids come out, they jumping on cars and crazy. I'm saying, if my mother and father ever thought I was doing some stuff like that, I am in serious trouble.
So here's the thing. Getting their attention is the first step. whether it be by word, by deed, or by material,
Okay.
because they'll respect you, word, deed, or material. They see something you have that they want, you got their attention. Now, what do you do after that? They have been exposed to consistent contradiction. And what I mean by that is the parent will say, don't do this, and then go get high. So you're telling me not to do this, that, and the third, but what the way you're living is contradictory to the way you're telling me to live. So you're not worthy of respect. You're not worthy of being listened to. They can look at their local entertainer that they like, whether it be a rapper, singer, sports, what have you. And a lot of them will say when the cameras is in front of them, do this, go to school, or whatever. Like a PSA, it's like a public service announcement. And then when they're caught doing something that's scandalous, that's brought out. And it's like, this is the same person that said, boom, boom, boom. Mind you, not every single sports athlete or singer or rapper is doing that. But a lot of times when someone's name is big and they do something, it's brought out even bigger. So it gives you the lack of trust for them as a whole brand. Like, I'm not listening to them.
That's no respect.
Right.
They lose respect.
So they need someone or something that they can respect and that's consistent with the message.
I used to have a liquor store, and some people say you shouldn't be selling liquor. And this was what I learned. I would never have met people in the street the way I did when I had that liquor store for 2 or 3 years. I said, these are some sick people out here. God, they're sick. But, and I was running for county legislator at that time. And it was easy for me to say, these people just drink liquor all day, they ain't gonna vote. Not true. I developed a relationship with them, but I was willing to write them out just like everybody else. And I was looking at the polls, I saw all my boys out down here. They drink liquor in the park, but they were down here. And because I had developed a relationship with them. And they registered, we had a registration in the liquor store. So I'm saying, sometimes if you just go out of your way, out of your comfort zone, and it start making sense, for instance, I'm gonna meet with the superintendent, and I'm gonna take a copy of this show, and I'm gonna give it to her, and then we're gonna talk, because there's no way for you to feel good when you see all this mess around you.
Right.
There's no way. Okay, feeling good is good, but we gotta take a break. We'll be right back after the break. No, I'm thinking how everybody, you can't solve, if you think you're gonna solve a problem that's been going on for years, you're crazy. But if you think you can't do something, you are also crazy.
Right.
Because there's always something you can do. I meet people who I was out of office. I just the other day, this kid knew me. He was 11 years old. I've been out of office. Listen that. So somebody's been talking.
Right.
And so I'm saying, we can't be so quick to say there's nothing we can do. There's always something you can do.
I'm Muslim, and my nephew was getting baptized for christening. So I went to the church for the christening, and the christening was to take place after the service. So I came in during the service, sat in the back, waiting for the end for it to happen. And one of the kids was going to the bathroom and saw me. Now I had did a tour, speaking engagements around Mount Vernon schools, and he was like pointing. I didn't know why he was pointing at me, and then he ran and came back with his parents. So in my head, I'm like, what's he coming to his parents for me for? I ain't do nothing to him. And they was like, he said you came to his school and you spoke. And I was like, all right, cool. And I ended up speaking at that church. And it was all free. It wasn't no money involved. But my point is, I left an impression on that kid from me speaking at his school. And then I knew the guy, the guy who christened my nephew. He's kind of related, you know, because his cousin is the grandfather of the kid, my nephew, my great nephew. So I talked to him. Jeffrey Will is his name. So I went to his church and I spoke there also. And it's a connection thing. Someone respects you and you're consistent with what you do, because I've done bad. And I'm not the best person now, but I'm consistent. So I would tell you that, listen, this is what you should do. And like I said, I got a list of things that I've done since I've been home, staying on my grind, trying to
How long have you
provide.
been home?
8 years, almost 8.5. I came home in January 2015. And my message, do what you can until you can do what you want. And that's what I've been doing. I've been doing what I can, doing my best to provide. And that's what I tell people. Don't sit there and shrug off stuff when you're broke. Like, you're able-bodied, able-minded, be able to do something. Don't just sit around and do nothing, talking about you're waiting. You know, no one rolled up on me and just handed me some money and said, I like your style. You know, go pay a bill. You know?
You had to build it up.
Yeah.
You had to work up to that point, and you did it very well.
Okay, we're back and we're into what can we do. And Johnny was offline. We were talking about some of his experiences. You've been out 8 years, right?
Yes.
Okay, in those 8 years, recidivism is very high, I think, but that won't happen to you because you're busy. And you, what are some of the activities that you've done since you've been out?
I was a brand ambassador. I'm gonna explain real quick. If you go into BJ's or some of these supermarkets and you see somebody that's standing there with a little platform and they're giving out samples,
Yeah.
I've done that. I've done it gig-wise. Some people have it as an actual 9 to 5. I've done it gig-wise, weekend-wise, because I was able to get on a platform and be able to provide minimal information, name, information, so on and so forth, and to get like 8-hour shifts to do it. I've done secret shoppers. Sign up on the site, you go somewhere, you do some shopping, you ask some questions, or you look around the area and you rate what's going on. There's a bathrooms clean, stuff like that. Boom, you support your report on how you was taken care of, treated, so on and so forth. Sometimes you have to spend money. They reimburse you of the money you spent, and they give you your fee for what you did. I've done DoorDash, Uber Eats, Lyft. There's a cab station called Reliable in Mount Vernon. I drove for them briefly. I did Instacart. There's a drive. A lot of my stuff I did dealt with driving because they were easy entry. I had a vehicle. It was easy to get in. SN Medical, I was driving healthcare providers to do healthcare visits to the sick. I was doing a cleaning. A guy from the block where I lived at, he was doing estate cleaning. People have estates, they die, they need stuff cleaned out. So he'd hire me and some other people. We'll do the cleaning. And then I had an idea. I was like, listen, we could turn this into a business. You got people that's in your black book, but we could take this public. I guess he didn't really take me seriously, but I signed. There was a site called Home Advisor. I signed on to Home Advisor, put my information in there. The next thing you know, I had leads where I was getting calls for but I didn't just do that. I put in for yard work. I put in for interiors. So I was cleaning insides of houses. I was cleaning yards. I even got to the point where I learned how to do trash compactor and trash chute cleaning, because I do that. And a lot of people do not like to clean their own garbage. And I'm talking about their yards, their interior, their garbage. And it can be very lucrative. It's a dirty job, but somebody got to do it. Like I said, might as well be me. Do what you can until you can do what you want. And I've been in a position where I can help others because so much work came and I was able to provide a helping hand to others. I did the car wash. I bought the car wash. I helped people. I helped kids. I was on the news for helping kids, giving them summer jobs. And I'm going to be honest with you. Some of the kids ran away my customers because they weren't ready for that. But people still gave me credit because I made the attempt. My thing is this. There's a saying, no child should be left behind. I don't think we should leave our people in our community behind. I had a second chance, so I was giving people chances. Does everybody deserve a chance? I'm gonna be blatantly honest with you. No. But that's not on me to make the decision. I put out the hand and see if you take it. And there's guys that I kid you not. I've had people that worked at the car wash and was inside the car wiping a car down and would nod out because they was high. And it's like, yo, I gave you a chance. I'm trying to help you. And you're hurting me. But this is what happens.
Did they see the correlation between what they were doing, your business, and the presentation they were making to the public?
They did not care. It's the thing when you're dealing with addictions, because I've helped battered women, I've helped drug addicts, I've helped people that was drunk, alcoholism. I helped kids. My thing was this, and I still believe this. If I help the people, the criminal element of society, and not just the actual criminals, ex-cons, the people who are more likely to become criminals, I raised the whole value of the community, because these people who would look towards crime, they have a job. They have a reason not to commit crime. And me looking at that intellectually, that sounds great, but everybody don't think like I think. So some of these people that are working, they're still thinking about, I'm gonna buy some drugs, or I'm gonna go rob somebody. They're still thinking about that. I'm gonna go, one of my guys went and got caught shoplifting. So he didn't make it to work. Why? Because he went to go shoplift and got caught. So I can't change everybody. But there's people who came to me and was thankful. One guy worked for me. I tell him when my daughter's birthdays and Christmas and stuff like that come, the guy brought a gift for my daughter. And he was like, yo, I'd have lost my apartment if it wasn't for you. So why wouldn't I buy your daughter something? And that touches me now, even saying it, because I didn't know his situation when he came for a job. I just looked at it like, you're from the neighborhood, you need a job. I want to be able to help the people in the neighborhood. But looking at it, now I look at it with a bigger, wider scope. You don't know how many people you help when you hire that one person, because you don't know how many people depend on him or her. Some of these people have households that they're holding down. And the little thing, I get a job for you. Because I was giving them side jobs too. Because I had the landscaping. I had a condominium complex that I was doing the interior and exterior work. So I'll be like, well, listen, after we close, we're gonna go over there and you're gonna clean this. So that's extra money for you. After we close, I got to clean out. We're gonna go do this. So I was giving these guys side jobs as well. And but it didn't always work. Everybody didn't deserve that second chance because they didn't know what to do with it. Some of them squandered it just like they squander money.
But isn't the reason for that is because there isn't enough of you guys out there? I mean, you're one person.
Right.
You're one person in the community that has never really had that or very little of that. You understand what I'm saying? Like
Right.
other communities, you know, people, there's people that will galvanize around these people.
Right.
We don't have enough of that because we don't see that in our community, right? Because we've dealt with so many different issues that were thrown at us in our community, you know. Because a lot of stuff in the black community isn't our fault. It's just not our fault. I mean, you have things that you have unscrupulous politicians, you know. You have you don't have excuse me, my voice because I performed this weekend. But you don't have some of the safety nets that other communities have, you know. I mean,
Well, if you want to change, make a change, look in the mirror.
You gonna sing the Michael Jackson song?
Huh?
You gonna sing the Michael Jackson song? The
Yeah,
man in the
yeah,
mirror?
and make that change. But I was let me ask you something. Your life was interrupted at 17 years old, but you started around 15. You started to get enticed by the physical things that you saw
Right.
that you want to be there. What if that hadn't happened? What if you went down the straight and narrow? What do you think would have happened to your life?
I think that I would have became something professionally, but guess what? I would have been selfish. I believe that I would have been successful, but I would have pigeonholed my success to just my family. I would not have been of value to the community like I am now. And what I mean by that is because I was put away with a bunch of people, I was put with the sick, and I'm talking about sick of mind, and I've seen this, and it changed something in me where I wanted to help.
I'm going to challenge that. I don't think that's true. I think in your heart, I can see that you care, and I think that this was a deviation because of your immaturity and the people you were around. But we're going to talk about that. But we got to take a quick break, and we'll be right back after the break. See, I'm an architect, and I never planned to be in politics. And I was talking to, I was associate partner with the last firm I worked with in New York City. And some people were surprised that I, went into politics. And the head of it, he's still around, and he said, I wasn't surprised. He said, you remember when you're trying to save this drug addict? You remember when you were trying to correct this prostitute that was walking the street? He said it was there. The opportunity just presented itself. And I think the same thing with you. I think once you've gotten over the fascination, and if you could have been steered, I think you would have done the same thing. whatever, if you were a lawyer, I think you probably would have been a criminal lawyer. Just because that's your makeup.
Well, looking at it from that aspect, I can agree with you, but looking at it from the way I was looking at it, because had I not been exposed to all of this,
But you
the
were
drugs,
15. You couldn't
right,
process it.
right, but prior to being exposed to it, I didn't really know it existed. Like as far as me going down the street, like I was saying in one of our previous interviews, once I learned about it, now the guy sitting there playing the radio isn't just sitting there playing the radio. But before then, I would just see a guy sitting playing the radio, keep going. I didn't know that he was there for a reason. And so me being enlightened into all of this allows me to see the bigger picture. And then from the flip side, behind bars,
But you taking it based on your condition then.
right, and my
but-
lack of knowledge of what was going
But,
on.
nobody knows nothing at 15. What the hell do you know?
You had guys that was 15 and younger that was out there as a part of the scene. And I just thought they was just standing around dribbling the basketball in front of the project building, and the basketball court is 2 blocks away.
Well, the other thing is when you lose your mother, you know, she would have said, hey, you know, like my mother, she said, I'm not an educated person, I can't help you, but I can tell you this, you're a smart little boy, and if you put your mind to it, you can do whatever you want to do. He said, I can't help you because I made the mistake not putting education. And she had an opportunity too, but she blew it, and she was gonna make sure I didn't blow it. And I was receptive to it.
Right.
Now, there are people who are not receptive, I don't care what you tell them, they. Okay, we are back, and I want to thank you, John, for taking the time out. I think there's a germ of positivity that has already shown its face, and so I want to thank you for allowing me to interview you and share your experience. I'm going to definitely stop by the superintendent's office. I'm supposed to speak with her anyway, and we're going to take this show to her and let her listen to it, and then we're going to talk, because we can take a negative and turn it into a positive. It's not what you do, it's what you do about what you do. And that experience you never would have had, sometimes you can take the negative and you're able to see the depth that you never would have seen. I mean, I can't tell you what a drug dealer is, because it's not been my experience. I haven't dodged the bullets, and I know I was watching a kid. He couldn't have been more than 12. He was coming out of a cab, and that kid had a bunch of money. And the way he was handling it, I know he's been handling money for a long time. So that's if he changed the product. I mean, he's got the mindset,
Right.
But if he changed the product, he would be much better off. I don't know where he is now. But I think it could be that they put you in place for times like these.
I put together something called YES, Y-E-S, Youth Empowering Selves. And based on the stuff that I learned as far as violent prevention, in ways that you can identify triggers so that you can know what is agitating you before you lose your cool, HIV/AIDS awareness. These are things that I've learned. I'm able to help others with dealing with economic. I'm an entrepreneur, so dealing with economics, dealing with home ownership, dealing with credit, things that would put the youth in better position to succeed, because some of the things that would help them in the not too distant future, they're not learning in school at all. They're not learning anything. I believe they're not learning anything about credit and how to establish it and how to get home ownership. And I'm not saying that this is the be all end all of education, because it is not. But